After years of Rolex sticker shock, where even the most basic steel sports go for sky-high prices, there's a quiet shift happening in 2025. Certain pre-owned models are finally giving real value under $5,000. If you want legitimate Rolex heritage without bleeding your budget, this video is your shortcut. I'll cover the most intriguing models, current resale reality, specs that matter, and the collector insights that help you make smart choices. Stay till the end. One of these rare references is quietly surging. Let's start with number 1, the Rolex Air King, reference number 5500. We are starting with one of the most low-key but historically rich Rolex watches that you can still snag under $5,000, the Rolex Air King 5500. Usually priced between $3,000 and $5,000, condition and dial rarity matter, this watch earns collector respect and flies under the radar for most. First launched back in 1957 and staying in production for nearly 40 years, the 5500 is as timeless as it gets. No date, no fuss, just a clean 34mm stainless steel case, an uncluttered dial, and a super comfortable oyster bracelet. Inside, you'll find either the caliber 1520 or 1530, both simple, durable movements that do the job without asking for attention. And while it might not have the glam factor of a Submariner or a Daytona, the Air King more than makes up for it with authenticity. This watch was originally created to honor RAF pilots from World War II. So yeah, it's got real aviation heritage. And yet, it doesn't try to play the hero. It's subtle, it's wearable, and it's genuinely charming in a way that most modern watches try but fail to replicate. Men or women, dressy or casual, it works across the board. 5-word verdict? Let's go with the stealth Rolex with roots, because sometimes the most meaningful pieces are the quietest. Number 2, the Rolex Oyster Precision, reference number 6426. Looking for the purest expression of vintage Rolex? The Oyster Precision 6426 is as stripped back as it gets, and that's exactly why collectors love it. You'll typically find it between $3,000 and $4,000 depending on condition and dial variance, and it offers a rare kind of honesty that's hard to come by in the luxury watch world. There's no date, there's no automatic rotor, there's just a clean, hand-wound caliber 1225 movement, a 34mm stainless steel case, and a minimalist dial that says precision. Not because it's COSC certified, but because it simply gets the job done. The acrylic crystal adds vintage warmth, and the smooth bezel keeps the look subtle and timeless. It's often seen on a Jubilee bracelet, giving it a touch of dressiness without going full formal. Originally positioned as an entry-level Rolex, the 6426 still delivers on the brand's legendary durability and finishing. It was made to be worn daily, and it still holds up today, decades later. If you're into heritage, understatement, and the quiet confidence of a watch that doesn't need to shout, this one's a sleeper hit. Sometimes less really is more. Number 3, the Rolex Oyster Perpetual Date, reference number 1500. If you're looking for a vintage Rolex with real pedigree but without the date-just premium, the Oyster Perpetual Date might be your perfect entry point. Most stainless steel models sit comfortably in the $3,000 to $5,000 range, often even less than a comparable vintage Datejust, despite packing the same COSC-certified movement and classic Rolex DNA. First released in the early 1960s, this 34mm sleeper hit blends mid-century charm with everyday functionality. It runs on the legendary caliber 1570, or its predecessor, the 1565. Movements known for their reliability and used across iconic Rolex models like the Explorer. And while it's slightly smaller than the typical 36mm Datejust, the proportions are spot on, especially for vintage enthusiasts or anyone who prefers a more classic wrist presence. The acrylic crystal with its Cyclops date magnifier gives it that warm vintage glow, and dial variants range from silver sunburst to black lacquer and even rare UAE emblem editions if you're lucky. Whether it's paired with an Oyster or Jubilee bracelet, this is a watch that flies under the radar but still delivers the full Rolex experience. It's elegant, it's understated, and still surprisingly affordable in the world of vintage Rolex. My final verdict for this watch? Datejust DNA, downsized and dialed in. Because not every Rolex needs to shout. Number 4, the Rolex Oyster Date Precision, reference number 6694. Priced between $3,500 and $4,000, the Rolex Oyster Date Precision 6694 is the vintage Rolex underdog that quietly steals the show. It's not a diver, a pilot's tool, or a flashy gold statement piece. It's the pure, no-nonsense Rolex that is made for those who simply want reliable, accurate timekeeping with classic style. One of the last manual wind Rolex models ever made, it is powered by the hand-wound caliber 1225. No perpetual on the dial here, just the understated precision label, which means that it's not chronometer certified, but it still delivers excellent everyday accuracy. The 34mm case might sound modest, but thanks to its flat profile and wide dial, it wears larger than expected. The dial itself is a vintage lover's dream. Clean stick markers, elegant Dauphine hands, and colors ranging from silver and black to warm champagne tones. The acrylic crystal adds a soft, charming glow, and many versions skip the Cyclops lens, giving it a perfectly balanced, minimalist look. This watch doesn't shout, it hums. It's equally at home on any wrist, blending timeless design with gender-neutral appeal and drama-free sophistication. Why own one? Well, because it's pure Rolex DNA stripped down to essentials. And at under $4,000, it remains one of vintage collecting's best-kept secrets. Number 5, the Rolex Oyster Perpetual, reference number 1002. The Rolex Oyster Perpetual 1002 is all about pure, unfiltered Rolex style. No date, no complications, just the essentials done right. This 34mm time-only watch, available in stainless steel, gold, or two-tone, shares its clean, classic look with early explorers and air kings, making it a quiet icon of vintage elegance. Powered by the reliable caliber 1560 or the later 1570, both automatic and COSC-certified movements, you get smooth performance and a solid 42 to 48 hour power reserve. The acrylic crystal and polished smooth bezel add a touch of warmth and vintage charm that modern watches just can't replicate. Dial options range from silver sunburst to black and champagne, with rare gilt or mosaic finishes for those who want a little something extra. It's got classic applied baton markers with tritium lume dots, and the hands have evolved from alpha to stick styles, depending on the production year. You can typically find this model priced between $3,000 and $5,000 pre-owned, making it an accessible entry into Rolex's legendary Oyster Perpetual line. Perfect for smaller wrists or anyone who loves minimalist vintage vibes, the 1002 wears just as well at a formal event as it does on casual weekends. 5-word verdict: pure Rolex, zero distractions, timeless. Simple, dependable, and effortlessly stylish, this one is a winner for vintage lovers who appreciate the essence of the brand. Number 6, the Rolex Datejust 36mm, reference number 16013. This is the two-tone legend that defined an era, Rolex's Datejust 16013. Priced between $4,000 and $5,000 on the pre-owned market, this watch brings vintage swagger and mechanical chops in equal measure. Launched in the late 1970s, the 16013 was more than just a style statement. It was the first Datejust to feature the caliber 3035, Rolex's first movement with a quick-set date function. That one innovation made setting the date way less of a chore, and it stuck around in various forms for decades. You get the classic 36mm case in stainless steel, topped with an 18-karat yellow-gold fluted bezel that catches the light just right. The champagne dial is pure vintage Rolex, paired with gold stick markers and that iconic Jubilee bracelet. It delivers timeless elegance that is both dressy and laid back. The acrylic crystal adds a soft, warm glow. And of course, there's the Cyclops magnifier over the date at 3 o'clock. Despite being over 40 years old, it is surprisingly modern in feel. With 100 meters of water resistance, an automatic movement, and that sweet spot sizing, it is wearable every day, even if you don't want to baby it. And the best part? It's the template that every Datejust since has followed. Because, honestly, nothing says classic Rolex like this one. And finally, number 7, the Rolex Date, reference number 15200. The Rolex Date 15200 is the perfect pick if you want a slightly smaller, more understated Rolex that still packs a serious punch. With a 34mm stainless steel case, engine turn bezel, and crisp white dial with Roman numerals, it strikes that ideal balance between classic elegance and everyday practicality. Replacing older models like the 1500, this reference stepped up with a scratch-resistant sapphire crystal and the legendary caliber 3135, the same movement that's found in the Submariner, so you know that it's built to perform. No acrylic here, just modern durability with vintage-inspired proportions. You'll usually find these beauties priced between $4,000 and $5,500 on the pre-owned market, depending on condition and dial style. The oyster bracelet and solid caseback add to the watch's low-key but refined vibe. If you want a Rolex that is less flashy than a Datejust, but just as mechanically impressive, the Date 15200 delivers, whether for daily wear, dress occasions, or as a solid entry into vintage collecting. It's classic, reliable, and effortlessly cool. These Rolexes prove something important. You can own real crown heritage under $5,000 if you look sideways, accept used or vintage, and value condition over hype. If you tell me your wrist size, your budget, and which design you like, I'll suggest 2 that you deserve to try out. If you thought that Rolex was out of reach, smash that like, because this video is proof that it's not. Subscribe for more deep dives into watches that punch way above their price. Until next time, own what you love, wear what you respect.